Greetings to the class of 2020, their family, their friends, and their supporters. When I was originally invited to be a guest speaker at U of D Jesuits' annual Mother-Son Brunch, I was beyond honored. At the time, I never thought I'd actually be giving this speech in my living room, filmed on my phone, and with dire need of a haircut. With everything going on in the world right now, I am grateful for the event's organizers who rallied together and made this opportunity possible. The class of 2020 deserves this chance to celebrate the amazing 4 or 6 years spent at 8400 South Cambridge Avenue, even if we can't be together in person to do so. As fictional headmaster Albus Dumbledore once said, "Happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light." In my 4 years as a student and my 10 years as a teacher, I have always been impressed by U of D Jesuits' ability to come together as a community in times of triumph or in times of tribulation in order to share in each other's light. While we may have experienced more than our fair share of darkness this school year, it is important to remember the good times we've shared as well. Today, in this moment, you, the class of 2020, are the light. We are all blessed to know you and have you in our lives. The Harry Potter series will always hold a special place in my heart. Growing up, my friends and I spent our formative years from 11 to 17 right alongside Harry Potter. Sure, Harry was flying on broomsticks and casting magic spells while we were dissecting fetal pigs and writing junior research papers. But we were all on the same journey of self-discovery, learning about the joys of true friendship and the fantastic power of love. And while these novels and movies may have come out over a decade ago, you might be surprised how much in common this year's senior class has with these literary characters. An entire generation of young readers followed these teenage wizards through an amazing 6 years of school, relishing the magic, the classes, the adventures. That is, right until the 7th and final year. For those who don't know, Harry, Ron, and Hermione do not return for their 7th and final year at Hogwarts. As readers, we didn't know we had already witnessed their last potions class, their last Quidditch match, their last feast in the Great Hall. While it was a difficult decision, Harry, Ron, and Hermione made the choice to leave school early in an effort to defeat the evil Lord Voldemort. Spoiler alert, it worked. The class of 2020 is in a similar position. While we are still in the process of remote learning, you didn't realize you were experiencing your last in-person class, your last intramural game, your last club meeting, and your last school mass. Yet you stay away and don't complain about the lack of closure because you know what you are doing is for the greater good of your community. Like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, you are the true heroes. You've taken up the call during these unprecedented times, grieving the loss of your senior year, yes, but also taking actions that will have a long and lasting impact as men for others. It is customary for the guest speaker to share some lasting wisdom with the senior class before they head off into the world as independent adults. One author claims, "All I really need to know, I learned in kindergarten." Well, I think that's nonsense. Sure, tying your shoes and cutting with scissors are important life skills, but I credit my major growth and formation as a human being to the time I spent here at the High. In fact, today I would like to spend some time pinpointing a major source of quality inspiration. As a book-loving English teacher is before you, you might be thinking to yourself, great, he's going to talk more about literature and the power of reading. Well, you'd be wrong. As an educator at a Catholic school, your next thought might be, how about another story about St. Ignatius, faith, and spirituality? Wrong again. I want to call your attention to an unlikely source that holds all the answers to your future success: the school mascot. That's right, the Cub. We've all seen him at pep rallies and sporting events. Most of us have him plastered over numerous maroon and white spirit shirts that make up more than half of our wardrobe. Some of you might have even been him earning the privilege to sweat your butt off in that tiger costume while amping up your fellow Cubs. This is what it all comes down to, my friends. Living life like a mascot. Lesson 1. Find your team. Every mascot has a team specifically for them. No other school could pull off the Commodores like Vanderbilt University. The school's namesake is Cornelius Vanderbilt, who made his fortune in shipping. They wouldn't make sense anywhere else. Likewise, the Raven from Edgar Allan Poe's hometown is named after the famous poem. Even the Cubs of U of D Jesuit have a rich past due to our connection with the former historic Detroit College. It is important for mascots to find their appropriate team. I am the oldest child of my family. Growing up, there weren't strong expectations for where I would end up after 8th grade at St. Hugo. The whole archdiocese was open to me. After a series of open house tours and some process of elimination, I became one of 12 students from my middle school to leave Bloomfield Hills to attend the High in Detroit. And I am so happy that I did. The friends that I made while at U of D Jesuit are the ones that I lived with in college, the ones that I spend time with on the weekends, celebrate with at weddings and baptisms, and mourn with. The team that I found as a student has stuck with me through it all. It's okay if my experience isn't your experience. Maybe your team is waiting for you in college, in classes, in campus activities, in late-night library study groups. I don't know what type of teacher I'd be today if it weren't for my School of Education cohort at the University of Michigan. Maybe your team is waiting for you after graduation in your future career. I thank God that I am blessed with having found another team at U of D Jesuit through my fellow coworkers. Whether it's listening to me complaining about assigning too many essays, or reaching out through text chains, sharing last-minute Starbucks orders before school meetings, I know they got my back, and I have theirs. Make sure you join in and participate. Don't wait around for them to find you. Whoever your team is, wherever they come from, or whatever they look like, make sure you find yours. Lesson 2. Stay positive and have faith. It is the mascot's job to keep the team spirit high. He's not out there jumping around and doing somersaults just because he feels like it. He's doing it to keep the positive energy flowing. When it's the fourth quarter and the team is down by more than a few points, you don't see the mascot off in the corner moping. No, he is out there on the front lines, rallying the troops, making sure the fans believe that anything can happen. The mascot's positivity spreads from the mascot to the fans and eventually to the players who sometimes turn things around and win at the buzzer. It's all thanks to the mascot. We've all been there. The late nights, the anxiety, the workload. These elements of life are sure to get anyone down. The Greek philosopher Epictetus says, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Mascots always react in a positive way, and those powerful emotions are contagious. I've seen it firsthand. Students who are negative can drag others down with them, but if one student shares some of his happiness, then it bounces around the room until all of the negativity is swept away. From simple jokes or a wave in the hallway to including someone at lunch or surprise donut offerings, we've all seen the awesome effects of positivity. This is why I will always choose to end my class period with "I love you," no matter what. Some days you guys might not be the easiest to love, but I stay positive and I have faith. I know that the next day has the potential to be better. Anything can happen, and it takes the mascot to spread that cheer and help us believe. Be that source of positivity and faith for others in your life. Lesson 3. Look out for others. Mascots make sure everyone is having a good time. If someone in the crowd isn't enjoying themselves, they go out of their way to cheer someone up. It'd be easy for the mascot to look at the bigger picture and see the stadium of smiling faces and believe everything is okay. But that's not the mascot way. Mascots don't let individuals get lost in the crowd. They check in on the fans and do whatever they can to make sure the experience is a good one. Junior year of high school was a difficult time for me, both academically and emotionally. Growing up, I was one of the first students to have horrible acne. After seeing a dermatologist for a while with limited results, a doctor prescribed a medication called Accutane. Finally, for the first time in my teenage years, I had clear skin. It would have been great, but unknown to me at the time, this new drug was also changing the chemistry in my brain. I was struggling to concentrate. I couldn't understand the concepts in honors chemistry, and I was failing my tests. I started to get negative and dark thoughts. Luckily for me, this was the time of LiveJournal and online blogging, so my followers were able to notice these changes better than I. A friend sent a message to check in on me, and that's all it took to wake me up out of my funk and realize I was experiencing the medication's harmful side effects. If it weren't for that friend, who knows how much longer I would have stayed in that negative headspace, all for the chance at clearer skin. I am grateful I had a mascot looking out for me that day. Lesson 4, don't be afraid to fail. Mascots are always doing wild and crazy things to keep the fans happy. What the fans don't know, though, is that these mascots aren't born naturally knowing how to jump on a trampoline and dunk a basketball. These skills take countless hours of practice and falling on their faces in order to get things right. And even then, they might still miss, or they trip and fall down stadium steps, or the t-shirt cannon doesn't work, or any other number of mishaps. No matter the high percentage of performing an epic fail, these mascots put on their suits and go out there anyway. They are not afraid of failure, and neither should you be. When I was struggling to find a home for my novel, I sent out endless copies of my manuscript to publishers, editors, and agents. Within a few weeks, I eventually received form letters letting me know my writing was not good enough for them, if they even sent a rejection letter at all. I looked up more contacts, sent out more manuscripts, and received more rejection. I spent years working on my writing, and now I was failing to get it published. Epically failing. Over a year's worth of negative emails failing. I imagined giving up plenty of times. Why should I bother putting my work out there, only to have someone else yet again tell me I'm not good enough? Fortunately, that voice was a small one that I chose to ignore. I took some risks and kept trying. Finally, I found someone who was willing to take on my project and make my first novel a reality. If I had listened to that little voice and let the fear of failing stop me from achieving my dream, then I wouldn't be a published author today. Luckily, I got back on that trampoline and made the slam dunk. Lesson 5. At the end of the day, take off your mask and be yourself. There are no professional mascots who remain in their costumes 24/7. It's too hot and it makes going to the bathroom super complicated. Even after an epic win against Brother Rice, St. Mary's, or CC, our beloved Cub must return to the Student Senate office, hang up his stripes, and go home to do some geometry homework. We all wear masks from time to time. It may not be the snout of the Philly fanatic or the sphere of Mr. Met, but we all have an image we try to preserve so no one can see what's really going on underneath. Maybe you're the Joker who calls attention to the flaws of others to hide his own insecurities. Maybe you're the intellect who sticks to his books because people are scary. Maybe you're the athlete, always in motion so you don't have time to stop and think and reflect about your life's choices. Maybe you're the class clown who answers questions in a British accent so your friends don't know how smart you really are. For me, I'm the perfectionist. I like to present perfectly polished finished products, pretending everything is a breeze while actually hiding the frustration, anxiety, and multiple attempts it took to get things right. So what if people know I made mistakes along the way? Won't that make me more relatable? Won't it be more inspiring to know that you can make it too, even if you trip and stumble along the way like I did? There's no point in hiding behind your mask. all mascots are just giant costumes without the person inside to fill it. That inner self is just as important, if not more so. I hope that all of you are able to discover your true self, recognize your worth, and share the amazing person with the world. I think you are all truly awesome. Otherwise, there's no way I'd be recording this speech meant specifically for you. Thank you to the organizers of today's events for inviting me to participate. It has truly been a joy to be a part of this celebration for the class of 2020. Thank you to everyone who is able to keep this event alive, even under these crazy circumstances. Thank you to those who made it to the end of this speech, even without being physically trapped in a banquet hall with no other option. And thank you to the class of 2020 for being an amazing group of young men who have brought so much light to the lives of those who know you. I miss you. I love you. Thank you.